Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, I'm going to be smoking up some boneless beef ribs. Stay tuned. All right, let's get started on these boneless beef ribs. Before I do, I want to show you a pro tip to keep your cutting board from sliding all over the place. I just have 2 paper towels here. So just going to throw a little bit of water on the paper towels. Soak it, just like that. Grab your cutting board and lay it over the wet paper towels. That's going to keep your cutting board in place. All right, so here's one of the 2 racks that I'm going to be smoking today, and these came from E3 Meat Company. Make sure you guys check them out online. Get yourself some of this amazing meat. All of the meat that I've had from E3 Meat Company is absolutely amazing. And as I mentioned before, they are big supporters of our military, and so am I. Now this is an 8-pound rack, so this is a really big rack of beef ribs. So as you can see, I do have 3 bones inside this rack of beef ribs, and the first thing I'm going to do is remove the membrane off the back, just so that I can see the bones a little bit clearer. I love the membrane on beef ribs. It just comes off so much easier than pork ribs. All right, so I've got the membrane off. The next thing I'm going to do is just find the 3 bones right here, and right on the edge, just start to trim away at that bone. Take your time and just cut alongside that bone. Cut on the other side as well. Man, this rack of ribs has some beautiful marbling. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing to the other 2 bones as well. Next thing you want to do is start either on the bottom or the top and just grab the bone and gently lift it. Sometimes they come off on their own, but I'm going to try to maximize the amount of meat. So you want to cut away at the meat. Just like that. We got very little meat on this bone. And there's 3. So this is what the bottom side looks like without the bones. You can see this nice row of meat right here. I'm going to leave that on there. Now let's trim the fat off the top. For this, I'm going to use my fillet knife and remove some of the fat, not all of it. So underneath this fat cap, you do have some silver skin that you can see right here. And I'm not too worried about it on this cook. We're going to smoke these for quite a while. That silver skin is going to get really nice and tender. So that's all the trimming I'm going to do on this rack. I'm going to take the bones off the other rack, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've got all the bones removed, and do not throw these bones away, because you can make some delicious beef stock using these bones. All right, let's season up our ribs. I'm going to use some Worcester sauce as a binder. I love the flavor of this Worcester sauce on beef ribs. So just add a light coating. And one of the nice things about taking the bones out is you finally get to season the bottom side of your ribs. All right, so the rub that I'm going to be using on these beef ribs today is from Pia Seasoning. This is a brand new rub, the Barbecue General, which is a kicked up SPG. So just add a good amount. Ooh, man, this smells absolutely delicious. And because I'm in Texas, I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. Pat the rubs in. All right, let's season up the top of these ribs. A little bit of the Barbecue General. Make sure you're shaking up your jar as you're applying the rub. That way you get really nice distribution of all the flavors. A little bit more black pepper. All right, I've got my Yoder YS 1500 running at 250 degrees. We'll see you guys outside. All right, I've got my YS 1500 running at 250 degrees. Let's go ahead and load up our ribs. So here's my first rack. so I am using post oak pellets today. Here's the second rack. So technically these ribs should cook a little bit faster because we did remove the bones, but we shall see. So I'm gonna slide the shelf in. We'll see you guys in about 3 hours. Stay tuned. Okay, so it's been 3 hours since we first put our ribs on. Let's take a look at them. Man, these are looking really nice. I still want a little bit more bark on these, but that fat is rendering nicely. Let's get an internal temperature. All right, so we're at 165, 166 degrees. Now I did rotate these front to back at the 1.5 hour mark. Yeah, we're still sitting in the 160s, okay? And they are still not quite tender. I do have myself a little Pitmaster snack on my smoker as well. These are the pico de gallo sausages that I made last year. I actually found some in my deep freezer. So I'm gonna have this as a snack until my ribs are ready. So as I mentioned earlier, I do want a little bit more bark on these ribs. So I'm gonna give these a couple more hours and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so 5.5 hours into our cook. Let's take a look at the ribs. Oh yes. Bark is looking fantastic. Let's get an internal temperature here. Sitting at right at 200 degrees. That's probing really tender. These are ready. Oh yeah, 203 degrees on these ribs here. But it's probing super tender. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them off, let them rest for about 30 minutes, and we'll slice into them. Stay tuned. All right, the ribs are ready, and the total cook time was 5.5 hours. And again, I let them rest for about 25 minutes. Let's take a look and see how we did. Beautiful. Check that out. Beautiful color, nice and juicy, and they smell absolutely amazing. All right, I got my Dell Strong slicing knife right here, and I am going to slice into them right around here. Oh man, super tender. Oh my goodness. Check that out. Boneless beef rib. We got a smoke ring all the way around. Oh man, this looks absolutely delicious. All right, let's take some slices off of this boneless beef rib. So even though this rested about 25 minutes, it is still really nice and hot. Check that out. That is money right there. Super tender. Nice bark all the way around. This is gonna be good. All right, I've got the boneless beef ribs all sliced up. And check that out. Beautiful smoke ring, really nice and juicy. I am loving this boneless beef ribs. Let's give it a taste. All right, let's give these boneless beef ribs a try. Look at that beauty right there. Here we go. Man, that rub is good. Holy cow, that beef rib from E3 Meat Company has some amazing flavor. And I gotta tell you, this barbecue general from PS Seasoning is here to stay. All right, I'm gonna give a piece to my daughter. Tell me what you think, baby. Like it? So you're probably asking, what can you make with a boneless beef rib? Check this out. All right, I got some Hawaiian rolls right here. Just gonna slice them in half. I've got a little bit of horseradish right here. You can add mayo if you don't like horseradish, but just a tad bit, just like that. Gonna add a nugget of boneless beef rib. Some pickled red onions. If you guys haven't seen my pickled red onion video, I'm gonna leave a link up top so you guys can check that out. And a little bit of cilantro. Check that out. Let's give this a try. All right, let's give our boneless beef rib slider a try. Check that out. Pickled red onions, cilantro, so that's basically a salad. Oh baby, here we go. I gotta tell you, that little bit of horseradish on this boneless beef rib slider is absolutely amazing. Man, these boneless beef ribs are so darn good, and one of the things that I love about this cook is that you can actually season the entire rib instead of just the sides and the top. You also get a little bit more smoky flavor because that bone's not on the bottom, which allows the smoke to penetrate the bottom side of the ribs as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this boneless beef rib video. If this is your first time to my channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you try this cook, do me a favor and tag me on Instagram. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.